Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome again to Mickey Sightings as we try round number two as we talk about the old mill turning 83 today. But it is a great day. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day today, and so we're going to try this again. But today is a very historic day in Disney animation, really in the history of animation culture as a whole. But the old mill was released 83 years ago today by RKO Radio, and it became the first Disney animated short to utilize what was referred to as or called the multiplane camera. And the multiplane camera was designed by Walt Disney, the company, and became really a benchmark item to which all future animations would utilize, because it allowed objects to keep their equitable distance, like kind of their more real life identity. One of the examples that he shows in his video that you can actually see at Hollywood Studios is the movement, the lack of movement of the moon. If you're coming in on a particular object, the moon doesn't move with that object. The moon stays stationary, and the multiplane camera allowed the moon to stay stationary as the camera would zoom in or zoom out on a particular part of a landscape. So this is an amazing technological advance. I mean, so this is definitely not a day to ignore in Disney history or in animation history as a whole. So let me read you a little bit about the old mill. First of all, it's part of the Silly Symphony series, which those animation shorts were created from 1929 to 1939. And we would now be at November 5th, 1937, when the old mill was released. And it was produced by Walt Disney Productions, and it was directed by Wilfred Jackson and scored by Lee Harlan. And as I said earlier, it was released to theatrical groups through RKO Radio, which was kind of fascinating in and of itself, because this was the first Silly Symphony cartoon to be released by RKO Radio. And with that came the new Silly Symphony logo. And also the background utilized the burlap that we've kind of come familiar with the early days of Disney animation in shorts from Donald Duck, Goofy, Mickey Mouse, and even Pluto the pup. So when you look back and you see that burlap background, it harkens back to this Silly Symphony, because that was when that was first utilized as part of that production through RKO Radio. So that's kind of cool to think about it like that. There were a lot of firsts in this, and I'd encourage you to go watch it. I would show it, but I can't show it because YouTube doesn't like you to do that. It's our round number two, but you can Google it, and you can look for the Silly Symphony called The Old Mill. I think it is on Disney Plus as well, so if you have that, you can watch it there. But when you watch it, it's just a beautiful depiction of nature, which would, a month later, we would see a lot of that same technology utilized in Walt's Walt's Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and so, which was called by, of course, the industry at the time, Walt's Folly, because they said, no one's going to sit in a movie theater for an hour and a half or 2 hours and watch a cartoon. Well, they did, and Snow White went to become the benchmark for which other animation studios would want to try to map out their animated films. So, Disney has always set the standard, and I'm hoping that we will see more of that in the coming years through Disney to really set that standard there, because they set a really high bar, that's for sure. But the short, if you've watched it, it depicts a group of animals that live in an old abandoned windmill, and a thunderstorm comes along and almost completely wrecks their habitat. But along with that are the flashes of lightning, the thunder, the movement of the animals, the movement of the sky. All of those things were as a result of that multiplane camera. And again, this was the first animated film to utilize the multiplane camera. And the song utilized within the movie the short is "One Day When We Were Young" by Johann Strauss. And it's operetta, The Gypsy Baron. So it's a beautiful score of music in it as well. And but later it would be re-released to theaters by Buena Vista Distribution. But some really cool, facts about it is it would give subsequent incorporations into things like Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937, a month later. Also, Pinocchio in 1940, Fantasia in 1940, and Bambi in 1942. It actually, in 1937, the Old Mill won the Academy Award for Best Short Subjects Cartoons. And it was included as number 14 in the book of the 50 greatest cartoons as selected by 1,000 animation professionals. So that is a huge deal. And then in 2015, the Old Mill was added by the United States Library of Congress to be selected as the film for preservation in the National Film Registry, finding it culturally and historically and aesthetically significant. So 83 years ago today, the Old Mill Silly Symphony was released through RKO Radio. What a beautiful short this is. I encourage you to go check it out and let me know in the comments what you think about this short and what you kind of find most interesting about this short. I would love to hear from you. So in the meantime, never lose sight of this one thing, that it was all started by a mouse. Have a great day and God bless.